What is going on, Queen City Reefers? Welcome to another episode here with Queen City Reefs. I'm sad to say that this is going to be the last episode for just 3 weeks. I'm actually leaving on vacation tonight. We're traveling to Atlanta, and from there we're traveling internationally. So we're going to be gone for 2.5 weeks. And so I figured it would be a good time to kind of talk of what I've done to get the tanks prepped, to make sure that the tanks are going to be doing well for 2.5 weeks. Excuse the shakiness. I have all my gear in the backpack already packed, so I pulled out the camera to go ahead and just do this video real quick. So I want to talk to you to what I've done. I'm going to go ahead and turn that camera around and let's talk about it. All right, so here we are. We'll start with the 300-gallon MegaMatrix. Yes, you'll see some hydrogen peroxide. I just actually put some corals from the quarantine tank, and so every time I do that, I do throw some hydrogen peroxide in the mix in there. I don't know, just it's worked for me. Corals are not harmed. Fish have been good. So normally when I'm here, I will do a dose of 1 millimeter per 3 gallons at night, and then in the morning, and then at night. I do it 3 to 4 times in a row, and then I leave it as is. Tonight, I'm just doing it tonight, and there will be no next time, so that'll be it. But that being said, that's not part of what I do whenever I'm leaving. So one of the things that I do is I fill the auto feeder. So I have 2 auto feeders on this 300-gallon, and that is because I have fish of all sizes. So I have the large pellets in here that will take care of most of the large fish and tanks, and then I have small pellets here, extra small pellets, that is really more for the Anthias and any of the other small fish that I have. And luckily in this tank, every single fish eats every single type of food, whether it's pellets, flakes, or frozen. So I have nothing to worry about here. Another thing that I do is I make sure to fill up my auto top off. And this one here is 50 gallons. This I know for a fact will last me for at least 3 weeks. And therefore I know that once it's filled up, I will be good when it comes to this one. Another thing I do, for the last few days, I've actually fed my fish 3 to 4 times a day when I normally feed once, just because it just makes me feel better. I want to make sure that they're nice and fat, and at least if for whatever reason they don't eat the pellets, which they do because I've actually fed them. But you know, normally the pellets that I feed is not as much food as I normally feed. So I try to, you know, get them a little bit fat in the last week or so that I've been here. Then I did a water change about 4 days ago. Now you don't want to do a water change right away because you definitely don't know if something's going to go wrong. So I did make sure to do a water change 4 to 5 days ago, and ever since everything's been looking pretty good, so I have nothing to worry about. So let's move on to these 2 tanks here, and you'll find something similar here. So here, and I'm sorry that they're dark, it's already late, and the lights on the MegaMatrix are still on because I actually cleaned the glass off, which is why the water is a bit hazy, and I stirred the sand up on that side over there because I was trying to move some of these scullies that had actually tipped over. So on this side over here, there's 3 fish in this tank, and I have small pellets that I filled up the auto feeder to, and that will go into a ring here. So I've already tested that, and so far so good. Same thing here. These fish here that are freshwater will eat pellets, except for 1 fish, which is the pea puffer. It would only eat meaty foods. And that guy right there is going to be taken care of by my father-in-law who's staying here. Finally, we have this tank, and this is where I came and added a lot of the corals that were in quarantine. So you'll see that leather, that other leather mushroom, and some mushrooms there. So here, the only thing that I did was, oh, and then I had to clean the skimmer. So definitely something to remember is clean the skimmers. And I actually dialed them down to actually skim a little bit more dry, because normally they fill up within a week. And so now I dialed them down so that they don't fill up in a week. And hopefully by the time I come back, they're good. Here, which I'm actually glad that I'm over here because I'm supposed to be putting an auto feeder right there. And that actually auto feeder, I have it at the table. I was filling it up with food. So I'm glad I'm doing this video because it just reminded me that I had to put that auto feeder. So most of the fish in here do actually eat frozen as well. I mean, any type of foods as well, except for the copper band. The copper band is the one that it has not touched anything. Therefore, I had to go buy Tigger pods, and I added more Tigger pods in here to make sure that it has something to eat while we're out. Here, this tank here, if you haven't noticed on some of my shorts, This is a 15-gallon innovative marine tank, and I'm actually cycling it right now. So the filter's off and water's just running through it. I cycled it with ammonium chloride and some nitrifying bacteria in order to get the cycle started. And hopefully by the time I come back, everything's good and steady so that I can start adding what I need to add. More to come on that one. Finally, that leaves the quarantine tank. But as I mentioned earlier, I moved everything out of the quarantine tank, and now everything is in the main display. So nothing's in this quarantine tank. I will keep it running because I don't want any bacteria that's built up in there to die, since most likely when I come back, I'll be going shopping for some coral and making sure that I fill that thing back up. So for now, here is the tank in its glory. I am crossing my fingers. I do have 2 people on standby in case something were to happen. I will be monitoring the tank through that camera right over there, and then I will be monitoring through my Apex system that I have, which monitors alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium, which this is really the only tank that does that. But for the anemone tank, it's been fine. I normally don't check it but once a month, and normally that's when I do the water changes anyway, so all has been good in that tank. Aside from that, really, that is it. I can't think of anything else. So let's see, skimmer's clean, check. Auto top off, check. The tank over there, if I didn't mention it, the Red Sea over there, that has an auto top off of 20 gallons, and that normally lasts 3+ weeks as well. So I'm good there, and I filled it up as well. Auto feeders, check. And I cleaned the glass on the tanks, which is what I just did too. That way, by the time I get back, it's gonna be ugly. Could have been worse if I didn't clean it beforehand. So this is the longest that I'm leaving the tank for. So it's a bit worrisome, but I feel that I've done everything I can. I've checked everything I can, and I have people on standby just in case. My father-in-law's here so that he can let people in if I had to call someone to come check on the tank. So, so far so good. If you have any questions, if I missed anything, it'll probably be too late, but you probably called me out on it, or I probably just missed mentioning it. I did do pump cleanups, which is part of the 2 videos back that I showed maintenance. The cleanup was mainly because of me leaving, because the pumps were already very weak, and I figured I didn't want to have to worry about that. The longer I took, if I would have waited, then most likely a lot of these corals would have perished because there was not enough flow in this tank. I do have this, a lot of corals here are growing and covering other corals, specifically that blue staghorn that I have over there. There's a frag right under that it's covering up, and I meant to get around to fragging it and then selling it on Facebook, but I never really got the chance. So definitely, if you're watching this and you want some coral, I will be putting a lot of this coral up for sale, maybe making some frag packs of the Cali Tort, that blue stack, some PC Rainbow, some Red Monty, whichever ones are big. This green blue tabling acro, pink Pasillipora, and then maybe I do have a saw now, so I might cut some of these Ghanies that are growing out of its plate. You'll see that that's already coming out of the plate, and so my plan is really to keep them maybe the size of that plate, and then cut off anything else that grows over that plate. I don't know, we'll see. Before I continue my chit chat, I will leave y'all here. There may not be a video next Thursday or the Thursday after, but there is one saltwater fish store that exists in the whole country there where we're going, and I do plan on visiting it, and if they let me, I plan on filming and definitely sharing that video. It is a Spanish-speaking country, so most likely I'll be speaking Spanish, and I will put as much subtitle as I can to translate what we've talked about. Maybe I'll do a voiceover. If that's something you'd like to see, definitely leave it in the comments below, because I will be reading the comments while I'm over there, and if I see that there's interest, I'll definitely make a big effort to show up and film that store. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I definitely appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Please consider hitting that like button. Definitely helps, and it doesn't cost you anything. Leave a comment below if you have any questions. Other than that, I will catch you on the next one.